classical pieces that Christian will play today are the original pieces written by composers in 4 different musical periods. We'll begin with the Baroque period, which began in the early 1600s. During that time, buildings were constructed with lavish ornaments. Painters and sculptors explored dramatic new directions and styles, and musicians experimented with new musical forms and harmonies. Although Johann Sebastian Bach, one of the foremost Baroque composers, lived over 300 years ago, his music sounds as fresh and beautiful as ever. Christian will begin his recital with 2 minuets in G major from a teaching notebook that Bach put together. The first minuet is considered the book 2 graduation piece because of its technical difficulty. The second minuet is well known to almost every piano student, but today you will hear it in a slightly different form. Christian has added some ornaments and other features in the style of musicians of the 17th century. Minuets. A popular musical form from the Baroque period is known as counterpoint, in which 2 or more melodies are woven together to create a lovely harmony. The next minuet from Bach's Clavier Suite in G minor contains a lovely counterpoint melody in the bass clef. It will be played as Bach intended, beginning with a minuet in G minor, then a minuet in G major, then returning with variations to the original minuet. Once again, Christian has added ornaments and phrasing true to the style of the 17th century. The great classical period of music arose in the late 1700s. The music of the classical period is polished, refined, and melodic. The most famous classical composers were all Germans or Austrians: Franz Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Ludwig van Beethoven. Like Christian, Mozart began playing the keyboard when he was very young. Adding much hard work to his natural talent, he soon became a well-known musician. The next piece, Arietta, is a charming little piece he wrote for the piano. Johann Hummel, another composer from the classical period, had the good fortune to study with Mozart. He actually lived in his house for 2 years. Écossaise is one of his lively piano compositions. To move to the Romantic period. The father of Karl Maria von Weber was so anxious for him to become a musician that he began giving his little boy music lessons before he could walk. It paid off. He became a musician. Today we will hear one of Karl Maria von Weber's compositions, Cradle Song. By the late 1800s, more and more composers had begun feeling that music should express feelings and be more imaginative. These ideas were the beginning of the Romantic period of music. A well-known musician during the Romantic period, Heinrich Lichtner, wrote the next piece, a short story. Try to imagine the story in this pretty little piece. Schumann, another musician from the Romantic period, began piano lessons when he was Christian's age, 7 years old. Within a year, he was composing pieces to play for his friends. Later, when he had children of his own, he wrote a special book of pieces just for them. He called it Album for the Young. The next 2 pieces were included in that album, Happy Farmer and Melody. the 20th century brought another evolution in the musical world. Composers in the modern period felt free to compose as they liked and often used unconventional harmonies and rhythms. Bela Bartok is considered one of the most important composers of the 20th century. His 2-volume set of piano music for young musicians, for children, is frequently played even by professional pianists. Musicians love these little pieces because of the incredible variety of moods they express through the use of dynamics and tempo. Each is based on a folk melody. Today you will hear 2 of these pieces, Hungarian Folk Song and Children at Play. To finish the program, Christian will play a composition by Ludwig van Beethoven, who is often referred to as the bridge between the classical and the romantic periods of music. Much of Beethoven's music reflects the tempestuousness of his own personality. Note the different moods created in the 2 movements of his sonatina in G major.